My story begins with a young, about to drop out of high school punk who was failing in everything that he was doing and was somewhat taken under the wing by a Marine recruiter. When I walked into the recruiting offices, let me digress a little bit there. I always knew I was going to go into service, just never did know when. My father was a former infantryman in the Army, so of course all our childhood included a lot of celebrating the battles of World War II in Korea. But back to my story. A Marine gunnery sergeant named Gary Young, a great gentleman, just absolutely impressed me when I walked into the recruiter's offices. And there was the Navy office, the Air Force office, the Army, and the Marine Corps. And you had to walk past all the other recruiters to get to the Marines office. All the other recruiters solicited me for, hey, here's a job I can get you, here's a field I can put you in. And I walked into the Marine's office and he essentially said, what the hell do you want? Unless you want to be a Marine, turn around and get out of here. So that impressed me right there. So I was hooked right there. But thank you, naivety, for allowing me to be hooked like that. My childhood was very interesting. I had a father who was an alcoholic, was quite absent from the family, and my mother was a nurse who spent a lot of time at the hospital and a lot of time compensating for my father. So, troubled youth, and as an old friend of mine, a good Marine colonel, always said, God protects the stupid, and he was very prophetic. He does. So little story here. When I enlisted, I signed up for aerospace technologies, essentially to maintain aircraft. You had to have a high school diploma in order to get this contract. So I knew my grades were pretty bad in high school. I just didn't know how bad they were until one day I was called into the counselor's office and recognized that my class was only 70 kids in a 200-pupil high school. It's a very small farm town in the Midwest. And there sat my recruiter, the district superintendent, the counselor, and the principal for the high school. And I just knew that couldn't be a good thing walking into that environment. And Gunny addressed me and said, what's up, Gunny? He just looks at me and he says, no stinking diploma, no stinking contract. And I said, what does that mean? And he says, you get to hump a pack and a rifle for 4 years. So that didn't sound too exciting. So the district superintendent and the principal piped up and said, but Paul, we feel that you're going to have a change of life event this summer by going to Marine Corps boot camp. So because of that, we're going to go ahead and graduate you regardless of the fact that you're maybe a credit or two shy and your grades won't make it. So that's what gave me my high school diploma. So that's where it all started. I wasn't some patriotic youth. I wasn't some gung-ho, I want to be a Marine. I was a naive kid out of the Midwest, getting ready to be thrust into something that I just had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. So standing on the footprints in San Diego at about 2:30 in the morning after being up all night, the night before and that night, with a Marine drill instructor introducing me to the Marine Corps, I was wondering just what the heck did I do now? So before going into Marines, a couple of buddies that went in with me, we decided we wanted to see if we could consume all the beer in central Illinois, starting about 6 months before we left for boot camp. And that all caught up with me the next week as we did our initial physical fitness assessments to see if you were physically fit enough to enter the training cycle, or if you had to go to what we called the pork chop platoon and be conditioned to start the training cycle. Luckily, I did not have to go to another term, the fat farm, and started the training cycle and was introduced to a very fine nutrition and fitness program. And it was called Half Rations Front of the Line. So my first time through the chow line, I learned a valuable lesson. When you're told to do something, you do it. So I failed to tell the the mess hall attendants that I was on half rations and received a full plate of food. Well, the drill instructor, they're very observant, and he decided I needed to exercise during that lunch period.